Well, we're sitting here with Dr. Andrei Aleinikov, and he wrote an incredible book called Mega Creativity, 5 Steps to Thinking Like a Genius. 5 steps. Why don't kids, I have to ask you this, because kids are always put in a box, and is that why they can't reach their potential? I mean, they have so much going for them, and then it seems as though they're just cut off at the knees because they say kids are too rambunctious. They're thinking outside the box when they should be put back into the box. And how can we prevent that from happening?
I have to tell you that it's all not kids. Kids are outstanding, and they are geniuses. The problem is with us, with adults.
Okay,
we begin to limit them. Parents, teachers, and definitely outside environment. We just limit. We put them into these boxes because we want good behavior from them instead of good thinking.
Well, even attention deficit disorder. I mean, I think some of those kids probably don't even have that. It's just that they're thinking outside the box.
They do.
Frankly speaking, I think that ADD is genius kids who are pressed into the box by medicine.
And the conformity, in a certain way of conforming.
Exactly, because they are so bright, so fast.
Right.
They are very bright.
I'm so
Typically,
sorry
they are
about
very
that.
bright. Listen, so as parents, what can we do? Are there things that we can do, steps that we can take to really bring out the potential of our children?
Yes, there are 5 steps, and one is let them do more than it is allowed. And this step is this law of mega creativity is called quitting. Quit quitting means go ahead, do something more. The second step is called why not every not. It means every time they hear no or not, they have to ask why not.
But then sometimes, I know as a kid, I would say to my mother, well, why not? And she'd say, because I said so.
Well, there are 3 exceptions of the rule. This is law, morale, and ethics. So in behavior, there are no's, let them be there. Like, you shall not kill, you'd better not, and you better not ask even why not. Yeah, why not? But in thinking, it must be like open thinking for everything.
Yeah.
So that's the second step. And the third one is go for a million. It means produce more solutions than it is even asked for.
Is it problem solving? Are you trying to get kids to really brainstorm and problem solve and think through a lot of different options?
Exactly. Brainstorming is only one of the techniques that was offered by Alex Osborne in 1937. There are 200 of them.
Wow.
So when we can teach a child to use these techniques, there is no comparison with this child with other children. It's just genius level.
Well, you're saying teach the child, though, but we have a school system where the teachers aren't teaching the children that. How do you change the school system?
Teach teachers to do the same because they don't know that creativity is teachable. It's a big surprise. Like I go to Singapore, for example, and they asked me to teach in one of the schools, and what I found out later, it turned out to be 13 worst kids that the teachers thought cannot be helped. So they gave me these kids, and there were 8 teachers also in the group. 1 girl, 12 boys, and 8 teachers. And in 3 days, we changed these worst kids into the best kids.
So give us an example of one thing you might have done that would have really helped those kids. What was one thing?
Well, how about if they become disciplined in 10 minutes? If they become active in 20? If they become enthusiastic about learning in 1 hour?
How do you do that?
How do you do that?
That's the idea. Well, I'll give you one example.
Yeah, give us an example.
I'll give you an example. We use where nonverbal communication is very important. So we found out that if a child sits properly, then it triggers proper thinking, and also it triggers very good evaluations from the teachers.
I was fascinated. I read that. I saw that in your book, and because I'm always telling my almost 13-year-old to quit slouching. Because he sits in school and he's like this, and he's very, very bright, at least on his scores. I don't know what you feel about the scores, but he does on his SATs. He always scores real high, and yet I find him like this, and he's very bored a lot of times with the curriculum because it's just not where he's interested. But I keep saying, if you sit up straight. And so you're saying there's something to that if you sit up and look like you're attending?
Exactly.
But when we were kids, we were taught to sit up straight. Remember in school, they'd say sit up straight. Kids today, the clothes they wear and the way they're slumped over all the time, that's just the norm today.
It's norm, but in reality, every gesture has some kind of meaning. Like, for example, if I sit like that and I put like this,
we'll join you.
Then the teacher will say, he's not interested,
He's not.
right? So what will be my grade? My grade will be F or D or whatever. And if I sit correctly, and that's what people say. They come to me and they say, Andy, I taught my stepdaughter to use one method. Just sit straight, put your hands, be open, no blocks on the body. And, she made it to the dean's list in 1 semester.
Now, Dr.
That's amazing.
Andy, how did you even get this idea in your head? Were you a child genius?
No, not me. Well, I don't know, though. I remember I was reading a book on cooking at the age of 4. And my grandmother thought that I would be a genius, you know, but in the cooking field. I now can cook only eggs, boiled.
So is there something about expectation? Because you're saying, if parents or teachers have the expectation, because I know that's one of the things I'm trying to do with my children. I keep saying, you can, if you try, and you can stretch yourself, and you can, you know, it's just a matter of thinking about it and trying different things. So is that an important thing to do as a parent?
It's called teachers' expectations, students' achievements, which I change into genius expectations, genius achievements. You expect a child to be a genius, what do you think you'll have? A genius. You expect a child to be stupid, and you say you'll be a criminal like your father, then the child will be a criminal.
But you know, you take this into your life too, and into life's work, because when you're talking about do more than the teacher asks, do more than the boss asks. I mean, I would want someone working with me that does that. So I imagine you're teaching them wonderful values.
Give more, get more.
Exactly.
Kind of idea.
And what is interesting that teachers say, oh, our principal needs to learn this, and principal when he learns this say, oh, our teachers need to learn this. So they just some kind of look for.
And what about the whole idea of when I'm riding around, even in the car with my kids, I'll talk about what's outside, and we'll play math games as we're traveling, or we'll try to do something that continues. Is there something about stimulating the brain? Does that do anything for kids?
The more, the better.
The more,
it's
the better.
Stimulation of the brain all the time, and the more input, the higher is the output, because otherwise it becomes worn out.
And seeing something differently, like the little story you told about the girl who made the picture of God. I mean, that's what she saw. So when we look at a cloud, we can see so many different things in the clouds, but so many times, you know, you see kids that are so cloistered, they don't even look out and see what the world has to offer for them.
Exactly, and it's all training. You can train them, you can show them step by step, very slow steps, but it goes within 3 days, they think differently, they perceive this world differently, and the results are outstanding.
And it sounds like you're saying that the parents and the teachers and everybody who interacts with the child needs to be doing this in their own life. They need to be modeling this or showing this to their kids. So it sounds like it's real important for the parents to get a sense of being creative themselves.
Yes, the more creative the parents are, the more creative the... Well, let's take Bach. Bach, in his family there were 57 musicians. 57 musicians, so no wonder he became a wonderful
He was
composer.
an inspiration to us, and so are you, Doctor. And if you're really inspired by Dr. Andy as we are, we want you to have an excerpt from his book, Mega Creativity, Start Thinking Like a Genius. It'll help encourage you to think outside the box, and who knows what'll happen after that. You might take a class, learn a new language, take up painting, and it'll help you point your children in more creative directions. So just call 1-800-TIPS-102, but be sure to call today, because tomorrow's offer is going to be different. This is a great book. This is inspiring for all of us.
Thank you so much. You're inspiring for me too.
It's great.
It's inspiration.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you for coming. It was great for you to come.
Thanks.
Well, this is the season for growing roses. But how do you get even started? Well, we're going to hear these easy tips from experts when we come back.
Start looking at the roses outside of the box. That's what you do.